What is going on, guys? It's me, Young Rich, back with another No Name Podcast, episode 5. Um, and you know the deal. It's Monday right now. Monday night football games about to finish up. Sunday had a lot of good football. And so we're gonna break down the the excuse me. We're gonna break down the best games and what I thought was the most important and the most crucial games of this weekend and what I really got from this weekend. With that being said, I also wanted to say I appreciate all the support I've gotten from everybody. Again, everyone's always giving me constructive criticism, how to make my everything sound better, my mic, my settings, my video quality, the whole 9 yards, how I can produce these videos, come up here and speak and talk my talk. And I just it's been a blessing to see that about to hit 100 subscribers, which may not seem like a big deal to a lot of you, but it's a big deal to me because 100 more than I ever thought I was gonna get. So you know what I'm saying. So we on the right track here, and all we're trying to do is be great, and you know me, so that's what I'm gonna do. That's all I can do. The first thing I had to get off my mind. I mean, we had to talk about it. We had to discuss it. We had to sit down and really break it down. I mean, everybody knows. I'm pretty sure. Denver Bronco fans, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 0-3 start to the Miami Dolphins, and Tua Tagovailoa put up an absolute historical day. I mean, first time since 1966 that a team has scored 70 plus points. And for fantasy owners, man, I mean, it was a great time. If you were a fantasy owner of a Kane, who most people probably didn't play because you didn't think he was going to go for 20 yards, four touchdowns. But I mean, whoever played Tyreek Hill, whoever played Tua, whoever played Raheem Mostert, or if you played Tyreek and Raheem like I did, so my team was lighting it up this weekend, and I couldn't be happier. But I mean, in all seriousness, uh, I mean, man, 726 total yards on the day. It's absolutely crazy. It looked like college football out there. I mean, it was touchdown after touchdown. This Denver Broncos team really has some issues to figure out. I mean, halfway through the third quarter, these guys look beat. I mean, there was just no energy, no pride in trying to finish the game strong and try to, get some momentum going for week 4. I mean, if you're Sean Payton, you're in a terrible position right now because you go from being, in the New Orleans Saints organization, from where you're always considered a winner, you're always a competitor, you're always that guy, that team who's going to go out there and make some noise in the NFC, and to be in this position with, it was supposed to be the revival of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's supposed to come get back and be an elite quarterback again. Maybe not top 5 Russell Wilson like we used to see, but I mean, step up from what he's done. And he's put up some numbers, don't get me wrong. I mean, before the start of week 3, he was top 10 in passing yards. But I mean, it's just led to 0 results. I mean, and then when you have Tua Tagovailoa going for 309 yards and 4 touchdowns, I mean, it's just insane. I mean, and this offense is just clicking at such a high level right now. I mean, Tyreek Hill is just getting his. Tyreek Hill is having himself a year. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa, the questions last year was always about his accuracy. Can he make these big time throws? And I mean, he's been doing just that through 3 weeks. You've got to give him his credit. You've got to, give him his flowers. I'm not one that's going to be out here because I know there's a lot of MVP talk. I know we hear it all the time. I mean, everyone that listens to any sort of sports podcast or entertainment, Tua Tagovailoa is in that MVP conversation last year. He's in that discussion again through 3 weeks. But for me, I need to see him play some better teams. Obviously against the Chargers, they had that comeback and he went absolutely absurd, crazy again. I mean, we've seen this level from Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, you just beat up on the Patriots. You just beat up on the excuse me, not the Miami Dolphins, the Denver Broncos. All right, week 1, you went out there and you had a great performance. Obviously, like I just said, I mean, but I need to see this this offense go out there and do that against an elite team. And so they have a couple big games coming up throughout the course of this regular season. They'll play the Bills next week. They'll play the Eagles down the line. They'll have the Chiefs, the Cowboys. There's some very good teams. 3 Super Bowl contenders right there, in the Eagles, Chiefs, and Cowboys. So there should be some great football to be played. I mean, but overall, this offense has just looked insane. I mean, like I said, Tua Tagovailoa has just been hitting everything. It looks like he just cannot miss right now. when I mean I don't yet again I'm not one of those guys to give someone flowers, give them praise if when it's only 3 weeks in. And last year we seen the same hot start, and then look where that happened. He was getting injured. He played a couple good teams, and then he didn't look like MVP Tua Tagovailoa anymore. All right, so he's gonna have some chances to prove himself. He's gonna have some chances to go out there and prove he can be an MVP caliber quarterback. I mean, but the biggest part of this offense is the fact that he's not getting sacked. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa 1 sack this year, which is the biggest, one of the biggest improvements in this Miami Dolphins team. Seeing someone who was injury prone, and you always had the injury questions with Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, it's just great to see. It's great to see that he's getting protected. They addressed that offensive line situation, and now for the most part he hasn't been touched. I mean, he's had a clean pocket for the first 3 weeks. And like I said, once you start getting some real legit pass rushers coming after you, I mean that's Los Angeles Chargers defense, as expensive as that team is, they never really they haven't got put it together. All right. I mean, they're 1-2 after they just beat the Vikings, who we already know it's the Vikings. They went 0-3 too. That's nothing impressive. But I mean, there's much money into that defense, and they didn't really affect Tua in that game, especially in that last 20 minutes of the game. I mean, Tua was just lighting everything up. It was just an absolute problem. But I'm looking forward to the Miami Dolphins to make some noise and see if how elite this team really is. See how elite this Tua Tagovailoa can really be. And it all starts with the biggest 4 games for the rest of their schedule. Like I said, Bills, Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys. I mean, 4 tough opponents. I mean, the Bills win their division the last 3 years. The Cowboys, I don't got to say much about them. I mean, Micah Parsons is going to be coming down that line screaming, and their presence is going to be felt defensively. Yes, they lost Trayvon Diggs, all right, but I mean, this Miami defense team is just going to get better. I mean, Jalen Ramsey about to get healthy, about to get on the field, about to start playing a little bit. And this Miami Dolphins team is really in the right direction. I mean, but to talk more on about Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, I mean, it's getting to the point now where now somebody's got to, a decision's got to be made. A move's got to be made. Someone's got to do something. I mean, Sean Payton, we're looking at him here and we're questioning if he's even a good head coach anymore. And I mean, we've seen his success. Sure, he wasn't a multiple Super Bowl winner, but he got his Super Bowl, okay, against Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, right? He had so much success in the regular season with Drew Brees and that New Orleans Saints offense. I mean, they were one bad PI call from being back to the Super Bowl the year the Rams made it and lost to New England. But I mean, overall, this team's just got a lot to figure out. I mean, it's just, 3 turnovers against a fast and just insanely explosive offense like Miami is just not good. Because just like that, just like you saw on Sunday, the big plays can happen like that. And once a couple big plays start rolling, the offense start getting hot, Tua start feeling himself, Tyreek start feeling himself. They had no Jalen Waddle, and they still are the fastest team in the NFL out there. I mean, it's just insane how much speed this team has. And I'm hoping to see some really good football going forward between, like I said, some of these teams that they got down the line, because I really want to see how elite Tua is. I mean, I don't think he should be in that MVP discussion quite yet, just because, like I said, they haven't really played nobody that I could really say like, yo, you went out there and you did your thing. Okay, because the Chargers, we already know about the Chargers. They can't win games. They don't got no ice. That whole organization for the last 10, 15 years just don't have ice. They can't win big games. So like I said, week 1, I'm not impressed. Week 2, they went out there and won against the Patriots. Not an impressive win, but a win. You took care of the ball, did all the right things. Okay, but then here we get back to it. All right, like I said, 70 points, historical stuff. Got to give them their flowers at the end of the day. This offense is definitely clicking at the right time. Obviously, they got to maintain this type of performance throughout the season. But yeah, I'm looking for big things for this Miami Dolphins team. And for those of you who watch football, well, I know I sure as hell was. All right, the biggest upset of the week. I mean, Arizona Cardinals. They go into Dallas, Texas Stadium. They go in there and just play the best football of their young career. I mean, young lives. I mean, it was just beautiful coaching and beautiful execution all across the board for that Arizona Cardinals team. I mean, Drew Drew Pasing, excuse me if I, butchered his name a little bit. I mean, first time play caller, all right? And not having Kyler Murray. Okay, you have Joshua Dobbs in there playing quarterback. We know who he is. He's a journeyman. He's never been a winning quarterback in the NFL. He's always been that number two dude who's always going to be an okay backup for you when he comes in. He takes care of the ball, but he doesn't do nothing crazy. But I mean, like I said, Peking, if I pronounce that right, I'm sorry if I butchered it. Okay, but he went out there, first time play caller, and just absolutely called a flawless game plan. I mean, Dallas is known for their fiery pass rush and their explosive defense and their defense to make big plays. But I mean, for the most part, Micah Parsons was out there. He only had one sack. All right, and that was early in the fourth quarter. All right, and I mean, these guys just came out here and performed. They balled out. I mean, they've been balling out. They just weren't able to get no offense going in fourth quarters, which caused them to really lose to the Giants 28 after blowing a 28-0 lead, like we all know. And then week one against the Commanders, I mean, they lost to 17-16, and it was just they couldn't get no offense going, which happens. That's, not having someone like Kyler Murray in there to really, be in be a top 10, top 12, 15 QB, whatever you want to rank them at. Okay, but having your old, quote unquote franchise QB, all right, in Kyler Murray, not having him in there, and the way Josh Dobbs stepped up and really, you know, made some plays. I mean, that's the best way I could say it. He was out here making the right throws. Like I said, not turning the ball over. I mean, he's using his feet to make to get his legs involved, and he's out here, trying to lay out defenders and try to get some trucks and get some highlight reels. But I mean, like I said, this Arizona offense came out here with a mission, and they just neutralized that Dallas pass rush. I mean, they were throwing screens, they were throwing screens, throwing little swing routes to not allow Micah Parsons and these guys to get going. And then they just took advantage of it. I mean, they started putting Rondell Moore in the backfield, which I thought was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this is one of those players with that low 4.3 speed, and you finally start using them in ways like that, in ways of a Tyreek Hill. Sure, we don't see Tyreek Hill line up in the backfield and be used in that sense, but Tyreek Hill is known for it. They just get the ball in his hands, get a couple blockers in front of him, and he'll do the rest, okay? And Rondell Moore could be one of those guys if used right. I mean, he got in the backfield, took off for a 60-yard touchdown. All right. I mean, these guys ran for 222 rushing yards as a team. I mean, this Dallas team was supposed to go out here and absolutely lay the wood, and they're supposed to be the hammer this entire game, and they did not perform. And I wouldn't take a lot of disrespect. I'm not trying to give a lot of disrespect to this Dallas team, because obviously we know who they are. One bad game is not going to define you for the season. All right. But I mean, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, you thought these guys were going to start heating up and start making some plays, but this Arizona secondary just did not allow the big play. I mean, they allowed Tony Pollard to run, but they were not going to allow this, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and these guys to start breaking loose in the secondary. They gave up a couple throws here and there because, that's just part of football. That's just how it is. I mean, but for the most part, I mean, Dak Prescott just looked like he had no sort of offense. I mean, no options. He was just consistently checking the ball down, taking what they gave him, and at the end of the day, that was just enough from this Arizona defense to come away with the win. I mean, and listen, Dak Prescott fans, Dallas Cowboy fans, whatever you are, whoever you are, if you think Dak Prescott is a top 5 QB, you got to go watch some film. Gotta go watch some film. I was getting some hate. I was getting some knocks on my previous video saying Dak Prescott is top 5. Dak Prescott is top 5. You don't know what you're talking about. Go watch the film. That's all I got to say, all right? You watch the film, you're going to see what I see, all right? At the end of the game, the red zone pick Dak Prescott threw, I mean, just look at it. Just look at it. You needed a big play. You were 2 for 6 in the red zone, all right? I mean, this Arizona defense was absolutely locking up when they got inside the 20. They were playing lights out, man. I mean, and yes, you could say Dallas had 13 penalties, which is the most in Mike McCarthy's. They had 9 in the first half, which was the most for Mike McCarthy in his NFL tenure as a head coach, and so you could blame a little bit on the flags. But listen, you just lost the football game to Joshua Dobbs. All right, so all this my year, this my year. It's not your year. It's not your year. It's not your year. Okay, I mean, listen, Dak Prescott's going to be the one to hold you back. I've been saying this forever. A lot of people have been saying this forever. And then they go out here, they go 2-0, and then you start to think, man, Dak Prescott, is a top 8, top 5 QB. Go rewatch the clip. Go rewatch that last drive. All right. I mean, he could not get anything going. He looked scared to take any shots downfield for the most part. I mean, he was just checking everything down left and right. And yeah, you just can't win football games. Like, I mean, you can. I mean, they easily could have ran the ball for 200 yards. If I really, I mean, I think so. If they just would have kept getting Tony Pollard the ball earlier, they were trying to throw the ball so much. I mean, Dak Prescott threw the ball 40 times. If you take away a couple of those, give Pollard another 5-6 runs, you don't know what could happen. Because I mean, Pollard was out there making plays. He was running hard, and they kind of went away from him. Obviously, they were down, so they had to start making getting some chunk plays, start throwing the ball, air it out. I mean, but overall, I mean, like I said, there is absolutely no excuse to be losing to the Arizona Cardinals. I give a lot of respect to this Arizona Cardinals team because, like I said, this game plan was absolutely perfect. I mean, they wouldn't let Micah Parsons and this pass rush get going. Like I said, I mean, it's just overall, it's just a great game. I mean, Arizona went in there, knew exactly what they were going to do, never felt uncomfortable, and they always just felt in control of the game. And that started early. I mean, they got out there early. They went for 2 2-point conversions, didn't get any of them. At the end of the first quarter, it was halfway through the first quarter, it's a 9-0 lead, all right? And I thought, like, why would you go for 2 twice, right? But either way, the Arizona Cardinals knew what they were doing. I didn't. They went out there, they took care of the ball. They didn't allow Dallas to get going on offensively and just made Dallas look foolish. And now I know everyone on Twitter is going out here, yo, Dallas, where you at? How about them boys, right? How about them Cowboys? You know what I'm saying? Come on, where we at? Where we at? We mad quiet right now. Cowboy fans, we mad quiet. I don't know why. Oh, man, listen, and I know exactly what everyone's going to say. They're going to say, hey, yo, Rich, you a Raider fan. Why you talking? We just seen your performance. And I'm going to get into that right now, all right? Don't worry about me. I'm going to talk about my team, all right? But listen, the Dallas Cowboys, we're talking so much talk through the first 3 weeks, all offseason, every year, just like we know this Dallas Cowboys organization and fan group base does. I mean, I seen so much on Twitter. Dak is this. Dak is this. Nick Wright. Is Dak Prescott still top 5? They made Dak Prescott have to throw the ball, and look what happened. All right, sure, he completed 25 for 40 passes, 249 yards. It's not impressive. Not impressive. 25 completions, 249. It's not impressive. And then we can go rewatch that clip, all right? That last play of the game. We can see that pick. He just threw that up for prayers and double coverage. And I mean, man, Kaiser White, what an absolute player. I mean, 14 tackles on the day, game-winning pick, and he just played phenomenal. I mean, hats out to him. Shout out to him. Kaiser White went out there and played lights out. He was absolutely everywhere, making plays, getting back in his zone, making his presence felt in the secondary on pass plays, and then also getting in there on run game, and really, having his presence felt. Overall, man, just a great win. And how about them Cowboys? Where we at? Where we at, Dallas? Where are we at? And then the last topic of the No Name Podcast, episode 5. I mean, we got to give him his flowers. We got to give him his praise. I wasn't high on him in college at Ohio State. I mean, I just wasn't a fan. Ryan Day and Ohio State, it's always that team you want to see lose. You want to see. So I was really hating back then, especially being a USC fan. Caleb Williams is the man. So, but CJ Stroud, I mean, man, what a performance through 3 weeks. It's just been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he was, top 6 in passing yards through 2 weeks. Almost had a 400-yard game last week. This week plays basically flawless, 20 for 30, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, just outperformed Trevor Lawrence, who is known as the Prince. Some people are calling him the Prince to Mahomes. He's supposed to be the guy that's going out here and give Mahomes a run for the next couple of years and give these guys like Joe Burrow issues, okay? But Trevor Lawrence went out here, and again, another terrible performance. I mean, he had 279 yards, sure, but threw the ball 40 times, QBR 58.9, passer rating of 85.3. I mean, it was just not a good day. One INT on the day. And that whole Jacksonville Jaguars team as a whole, 5 for 13 on third down. I mean, it's just not stuff you want to see. Not problems you want to see if you're Jacksonville right now. Sure, last year they had a slow start, got stuff going halfway through the season, and made their playoff push towards the end of the year. But right now, without stacked the AFC is, I don't really think you have time for a situation like that. You don't have time to wait 6 weeks before you get it going, before this offense gets clicking. I mean, because CJ Stroud went out here, and yes, he's been the best rookie quarterback passing the ball that in the NFL this year. I mean, like I said, he against the Ravens went out there, didn't turn the ball over. I believe he could add one INT. I could be wrong, but that was his only one on the season. But for the most part, was just being a game manager, completing passes, putting his team in positions to succeed. And I mean, he's connecting with Tank Adele. I mean, 5 receptions, 145 yards, and a touchdown against Jacksonville. I mean, CJ Stroud has just looked insane this year. I mean, he's looked good. I mean, and it's something you love to see if you're a Houston Texans fan. I mean, giving up Deshaun Watson, everyone was like, at first, why would you give up this Deshaun Watson? Deshaun Watson was supposed to be your guy. He's supposed to pay him. Supposed to, I know he had his issues, but still, we knew who Deshaun Watson was. I mean, he was up 28-0 in the AFC Championship game against Patrick Mahomes one year in Houston. I mean, he was that type of QB, and you let him go for and now you got those picks to rebuild, and you looks like you're hitting on one with CJ Stroud. I mean, it just couldn't be a better feeling. I know how I would feel if I hit on a QB in the draft. I mean, it hasn't been a while since I felt that way, but I mean, as a Texans fan, I mean, it just has to feel good. I mean, D'Amico Ryan's just overall just had his of a presence felt on this entire organization, and he's done a great job so far. I mean, this Houston defense just came out to play. They don't look stellar, but they don't look terrible. Um, they look like a solid team. They have their plays and and such like that. I mean, Will Anderson's out there absolutely balling. Uh, and then you have Jimmy Ward out there, who they just picked up from the free agency from San Francisco. I mean, you added some good pieces. Derek Stingley Jr. unfortunately got injured. I'm not sure about how serious the injury is. So I mean that hurts in your secondary. But I mean for the most part, I mean man, this team has done well, has impressed, and uh, made some eyes look their way because for their future. They traded up for Will Anderson, he's played solid. Like I said, I mean, it was a big gamble trading up for someone like Will Anderson. I mean, we know how elite he's supposed to be in the prospect he was, but still trading up, giving up a lot of draft capital to get someone like Will Anderson at number 3. You never know how these guys are going to pan out, but it's definitely paying off in their favor, and it's just great to see for the Houston Texans as an organization. But I mean, CJ Stroud, man, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of his game. I thought he wasn't a good QB. I thought it's just the Ohio State, you know, persona that just made him his name and created him for who he is. All right, went out there against Georgia national championship game, played flawless. All right, just was unfortunate in who had the ball last. And then yeah, it's just great to see someone like C.J. Stroud get in here, and he definitely got drafted to the best possible team as a rookie quarterback. I mean, this is definitely the most win ready now team uh, between the 3 first quarterbacks taken with Anthony Richardson, the Colts, Bryce Young, and then the Carolina Panthers. But yeah, I mean, this is just great to see. You like to see young QBs come in and perform, and help a team start winning. And hopefully that's the direction they're going in, because that would just be great to see. Love to see young rookie quarterbacks come in here, start slinging the ball, looking poised, making the right reads, going through progressions. I mean, looking off safeties and then looking the other way to make a absolute dime up the seam. CJ Stroud has just been looking phenomenal. Definitely keep your eyes out for rookie of the year candidate right here. But with that being said, this is the end of episode 5 of the No Name Podcast. I hope y'all enjoyed. Had to rant about my team a little bit. Had to just speak what I was saying. Being a Raider fan, it's tough sometimes. But with that being said, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know how y'all feel about these games. What's your favorite moment from this past weekend? And yeah, appreciate the love. I'm out.